It seems that whenever new media is introduced to society, a moral panic is sparked, in which this new media is blamed for a number of society's problems. If you take a look back through history, nearly every new media has experienced this cycle. Books, music, and television, just to name a few. The main concern of these panics is that this new media is going to harm the young and innocent people of our society, though, over time, it seems these panics dissipates. Recently, video games have been hotly debated throughout society and the scholarly community in that violent video games cause violent behaviour. However, is this panic legitimate, or is it how Christopher Ferguson states, just another spin of the moral panic wheel? As he explained in the Week 4 lecture, public debate tells us all video games are violent and addictive, they make players antisocial, they make us unhealthy, and that they are only played by teenage boys. All these statements have been proven to be missed by a study performed by J. Brand of Bonn University in 2012. Brand found that the most type played of game by both male and females is puzzle games. Only 3% of Australian gamers have sat for longer than 5 hours in one sitting. 70% of gamers enjoy playing with others, and that the average age of the Australian gamer is 32. This research proves that the statements created by public hysteria are just blatant stereotypes that scapegoat the gaming industry, and that they are not actually based on any true information. Although, is this the same case with the main concern surrounding video games? That violent games cause violent behaviour. Christopher Ferguson, a psychologist and a researcher of the effects of video game violence, in his article, Video Games Are Not the Enemy, makes a number of points that suggest that there is no relation between violence in video games and violent behaviour. However, he states, the best studies now coming out, those which take care to use well-validated clinical outcome measures and which carefully control for other important risk factors, provide no support for belief that video game violence contributes to youth violence. He continues on to state, a prospective study of youth violence find that mental health problems are the main predictor of negative outcomes, not video game violence. The most interesting statement from this article is that during the era in which video games soared in popularity and violent content, youth violence and violent crimes have plummeted in most industrialized countries to 40-year lows. If there are actual studies providing evidence that there is little to no relation between violent video games and violent behaviour, why is this assumption automatically made? It is because of the media effects logic as explained in the Week 2 lecture. The media content is decontextualized and a very one-dimensional view is created. We see violence on television, so we commit violent acts ourselves, is essentially what this media effects model implies. The media chooses its targets selectively and always starts with an assumed cause, usually focusing on the media first, rather than the people. Pop culture, new media, and media for kids always seem to be the target, but never anything such as the news or the Bible, even though they both display violence and other content, such as prostitution, that challenge social values. It has become routine for the media to ignore the facts and studies that prove that real-life acts of violence are due to mental health problems. Video games fall victim to the media and are portrayed throughout society as dangerous, harmful, and unhealthy, especially for our children. Although, as Christopher Ferguson states, our kids today are the least violent, most civically involved, least likely to use drugs, least likely to get pregnant, but most likely to graduate from secondary education compared to the past several generations. And that's even though we live in an era where video games are more violent than ever and accessing one is as easy as reaching into our pocket. Moral panics have surfaced throughout time, from as early as when the waltz was introduced. Looking back, these panics appear extremely illogical, but it's always a case of people developing reasons why this new media is bad. Although it's as simple as Ferguson puts it, nothing come of these panics, and nothing is coming of video games.